Welcome to GT Manager. Today we're taking a first look into the game so I can show you as much as I possibly can so you can make a decision whether this game is for you. Thank you very much to the developers for giving me a key early. This video will be going out on the Tuesday. It'll be launching into early access on Steam on the Wednesday. And also, I have a pre-release version, which might mean there might be seeing some bugs and glitches, and it is also early access in general anyway, so they're continually improving the game, and they plan to have 1.0 out, I think, in 6 months that they've mentioned on the Steam page. If you're new to GT Manager, don't really know what it's all about, it's a management game like Motorsport Manager or F1 Manager, and it features the classes of GT4, GT3, GT2, GTE, and Hypercar. So if you follow real-life motorsports like IMSA, WEC, British GT, you get the point. You'll be very familiar because there are licensed cars, there are licensed drivers, but there are fictional tracks. So if you play Motorsport Manager, that'll be more familiar to you. So as you can see, we're at the end of the GT2 season. So I've progressed a little bit into the game, and we're at the end of a season because there are some things that you get to see during the season switchover that you don't usually see during a season. So I thought that was the best place to show you. So we're going to go into the GTE season, but I do want to show you how some of these menus work as we go along. For example, the top bar, you can customize your team. When you first launch the game, it asks you to choose a name, which has limited characters, hence why mine is called Mav Motorsport, not Maverick Motorsport. In this screen, you can see your stats and you can customize. So you can change your team flag if you want to, which will change on the side here, as you can see. And your team logo, whichever one that you would prefer. And your colors. So you've got your sort of base color, and then you've sort of got your secondary, so your trim, whatever that is. If you click on this, this goes to your car factory directly, actually. I'll show you that in a little bit. This is your current season. You can't see previous seasons, you can only see your current season. And that's where this is, and you can also see exactly what unlocks where. So I've progressed quite far into it so I could show you all these buildings. You have to unlock the lights of the manufacturer's cup and the racing crew, and basically a lot of this. Actually, you don't get private testing at the start, or research, or marketing, or racing crew, manufacturer's cup. You get the point. This is to do with your current championship. Obviously we've finished. It would give us an option to go on to the next race, but as we've finished, it won't tell us. And then we have our finances in here, so you can see it from this season for all time. So you can see where you are financially. And then you've got your settings, as usual. Music disabled, because YouTube, copyright, don't want to deal with anything like that. You've got a 3D view and a top view, and I'll show you both of those when we get into a race. You've got your graphic settings down here. Over here is reset my profile. And if this works similarly to how it works in the demo from earlier in the year, it basically resets everything. So you would start from all the way back to GT4 and all these buildings would be locked. So you'd have to start all over again. There aren't any save slots, by the way. This is the only save that you get. Shall I show you the cars in the showroom? Because we go all the way back to GT4 and some of these have a factory car. So that's the Audi. That's the Camaro, the Amira with its factory car, the 718 and its factory car, the Salin. Then we've got the GT3, so we've got the Audi, the M4, Century Motorsports one, my personal favourite, the Ford Mustang with Proton competition, so you may not recognise some of the names, the Mercedes and the factory car, and the 911 GT3. GT2, we've got the Audi R8, its factory car, the Expo, its factory car, the Mercedes, Club Sport 25, the 935, which is our current season car right now, and the factory one as well. And then we've got our GTE, so we've got the Aston Martin. GTE doesn't actually exist anymore as a class, it's now LM GT3. The Corvette, the Ford GT Le Mans, the RSR, great sounding car, I must say. And then we've got our hypercar. We've got Alpine, Valkyrie, which is coming into the WEC next year actually, There it is. The BMW M Hybrid, the Bugatti, the Blide, the Glickenhaus. Sadly, this thing doesn't race anymore, but it is very nice to look at. The Peugeot 9X8, you may notice this is the original Peugeot from the start of the WEC season because they added a rear wing at the end and some other things. I think internally they've changed with the Peugeot, so it performs a bit better. So I don't know if they're going to do the route of what Le Mans Ultimate did, where they added another version of the car with the wing, or they're going to replace the 9X8 as is. We will see what they will do about that. There's the factory car, and then there's the 963 there. Let's look at marketing, and this is where you get your bonuses during a season, so your overall season like here, or during each race. So as long as I have 2 drivers in top 7, a driver in top 3, and a driver in top 5, I can capitalize on all 3 of these sponsors. And at the start of the season, you choose your sponsors. I haven't unlocked merchandising just yet, so I can't show you it. So you'll get a bonus at the end of the season. And because we're at the end of the season, I'll show you how this works. If we look at research, this is where you research different parts and elements to your team. So for example, car parts, and it will tell you how much it will take to research that. And you have different researchers as well. At the moment, I have 3 of basically the same researchers because they have the same stats. It doesn't really matter who I have. So I could actually swap one of you over because you are better actually. However, you don't have, but you do. Okay, I don't know why that is. I don't know if that is a bug. I have no idea, but we could go with that again. And once you've researched a part, let's say you've researched some new brakes or something like that, you'd go into your car factory, and this is where you apply your sort of upgrades. So you'll just have this at the start, and then your engine department will unlock, and then you'll have your aerodynamics unlock, which we will unlock in 6 months' time. So you have different things which will affect all this. So if I hover over this, this part will add some handling, but it will also reduce your tire durability, and it will also affect your overall performance indicator, as you can see there. See, that's a 450. That's a 452. It depends what you want to go for. That's a 448. That's a 450. You get the point. And this all has a monthly cost as well. So you've got to kind of keep an eye on that as well. Now, who's going to drive your cars? Well, they can be found in the driver building. So at the start, you sort of choose your drivers. And some of them will have some conditions. So I signed on Jordan here, and he required me to have 131 race points by the end of the season, which I did. In fact, all of these had certain points. And you also have the likes of engineers, tracking engineers, and data engineers as well. Now, after each race, they gain experience. When the experience fills up, you can basically train them if it's a person, or an upgrade if it's an object to upgrade that thing. Their salary will go up, but their stats will also go up, and they'll go up all the experience, and then you'll rinse and repeat and do that all over again. On to racing crew, very similar, but this will improve your sort of performance on the track in terms of reliability, seeing the weather forecast more in advance, the refueling time, and the tire change time. So this is more about your pit stops and seeing about strategy, because the more time you have to plan ahead for, say, rain coming, the better you're going to be equipped to deal with the best strategy to get ahead of the competition. The championship is just your main championship view. Now, if I was midway through the season, it would have an option saying you can play this next race. But at the moment, we are at the end of the season. Finally, we have Manufacturer's Cup. These are optional races. You don't have to do these. You can do them all at the start of the season. You can do them all at the end. You can mix them in between. You don't have to do them if you don't want to. But it's a good idea to do them. You get access to other cars that you haven't raced before maybe, and you can have a go at them, and you get a bit of a bonus. For example, get 2 drivers in the top 6, things like this, and you'll get certain bonuses for them. Shall I show you how an end of the season works? So that is first position in our wonderful Porsche. And that is the results screen as well. And we can have a look at the drivers. And now we can go to sponsors. And then our financial sort of summary. Basically, we're getting summaries for everything. And then we can finish that season. And because we have enough race points, we have GTE unlocked. So let's choose a GTE car, shall we? So as I've shown you before, we've got the Brabham, we've got the Aston, we've got the Corvette, we've got the Porsche, we've got the Ford GT. I've already done a Ford, I've already done a Porsche. I kind of want to do something different. Shall we go in the Aston Martin? I think we will. As for the drivers, you can select them, and this can only be done once a season. Who you go for, because you cannot change this. This is one per season because it's part of that sort of pre-season element. And you can choose them from this list down here. There are 30 available drivers for me at the moment. And some will have conditions, some won't. And you sort of need to sort of balance the salary, the finances with, are they better or are they worse? Right, let's look at sponsors. So there are 4 here. You've got a seasonal sponsor, which you can choose whatever you want. Shall we do... I feel optimistic. Shall we do a top 3 finish, which we'll get 1 million out of? 3 race sponsors. Let's be sort of generous to ourselves. Let's do... Let's see. Yeah, let's do this one. So a top 7. 2 drivers in top 7. I think that's quite possible. Shall we do 1 driver in top 3? Oh, I forgot. I need to switch that. And let's do 1 in top 5. So if I got 2 drivers in top 6, in fact, if they were in top 3, we would have all 3 of these bonuses during that race. And then we can start the new season, which we have now done. Shall we go into a race? UAE. Okay, Mav Motorsport against the likes of Corvette, Aston Martin, the big names here in GTE. Now, this, as you can see, is an endurance race. It's 30 laps. And you also find sprint races, which are 15 laps. So let me take you through a race. Right, here we are in qualifying. So I'm going to pick somebody that has best speed. Now, we can see currently it's dry. So you're probably going to be best, and out of you two, it doesn't matter. Would consistency matter? It's only over 1 lap. And we want the least amount of fuel. We want soft tires on both of them, and you can actually change your car settings in here. So you can have setups in here if you want to. By default, it will be like that. I was messing around with them earlier. So you can increase your grip. If you wanted more handling or more traction, and this will do certain things. Depends what you want to do. Do you want more top speed? Can we balance anything like that out? You get the point of how this works. Let's say we wanted to go with that. And for you, yeah, let's keep that like that. Plus, plus, plus. And hit qualify. Now, unlike in Motorsport Manager, for example, you don't do anything. This is qualifying. I'm hoping we get some sort of involvement in qualifying in the future, but this is what it is like at the moment. Now, based on those stats and how good our car is, we have come 13th and 15th. So this is now race prep. It's basically the same screen. Now, we know at some point during the race, it's going to go from dry cloudy, to, well, dry cloudy. It's not going to rain thus far. Remember, this is a 30 lap endurance race. Imagine if it was a 30-hour race. Imagine that. So I am going to go 100% fuel. I'm going to start you on softs, and I'm going to start you on mediums. Slightly different strategy. And yes. See, I would only really use Jordan if it went wet now, because there's no requirement for a driver change. You can driver change, but you might be better because you're better at overtaking. But I could swap you two because you're more consistent. Yeah, car 2, I might drive a sort of them every time I do a pit stop, actually. But here we go. We're all lined up and we're ready to go. And away we go. So, this is what's referred to as the 3D view. If you remember in options, which will pause the game by the way, there was default view of 3D and top view, and that is what 3D is. And this is what top view is. If you absolutely want to, right? This is as far as you can zoom out, and you can zoom all the way in, and that's it. You can rotate your camera around it. All that good stuff. You can fast forward if you want, and let it go around like this. Now I've set that for a toggle. You can have that as a hold if you want to. You can pause it as well. Make everything grey. And to switch between your drivers, you just click on the driver preview. So if we went to Ryan's car, I can tell him to go a bit faster, right? But going faster means the engine temperature, not the engine temperature, the engine temperature will go up, sorry, but also the tire temperature and also the wear will go up. And we've got a yellow flag. Now, you may notice, I was wondering if we were going to actually get a yellow flag during this. You may notice, it's not really a yellow flag, it's more of a full course yellow because everyone's going the same speed. So it's not really a yellow flag, it's a full course yellow. For a period of time. Now, we can go and skip this if we want, but I'm going to take the opportunity to sort of try and explain this stuff. The push is a temporarily boost up to sort of speed 3 that you can use, and you have 3 of them. One will replenish after each pit stop, so you can. It's not 3 for the entire race. It's 3 between pit stops, but you only replenish 1 per pit stop, if that makes sense. And you can, you know, manage both of them equally at the same time. So that's sort of how you manage things. So you've got to make sure that your tire temperature isn't too cold. You'll notice this go back up. When yellow flag or full course yellow, it comes out of effect. You don't have to press it manually, it will do it automatically for you. So if I switch to Mikey down here, and I told him to push maybe on this next bit here, now it will temporarily say, yeah, let's do a big push like that. It goes into the maximum speed level, but now I have 2 left. Great for overtaking, and so is this. Now, sometimes, particularly in GT4, you won't have a very reliable engine, and this will overheat. I think you can push it to 110 degrees, it will turn red, and it will start beeping at you. In order to replenish the reliability of your engine, you'll need to go, actually, let's go to number 10, because you won't lose as many positions, or you're higher up in the grid, actually. And it will start putting more in that, but it will slow you down a bit more. Now, we're up to a pit stop. So I'm going to hit pit stop. We're okay on fuel. I'm going to change it to mediums. Are we going to change? No, we're going to hit go. We're actually okay for another lap. I know we're relatively low. We should have done it for that lap like everybody else did. And this is what you get. Not much to go on when it comes to your pit stop, but it's a management sim. You won't get absolutely everything with animations and all that. But it is fairly cool to see. Now, if I go to my other car and sort of control him, you'll see what happens when I'm in another car, but someone else is having a pit stop. It will give us a little preview window in a moment when Mikey Taylor goes into the pits. There we go. So this, I think, is really cool. It tells you that, you know, someone's in the pits. And you'll get these pop-ups as well saying temperatures are too high or my tires are cold or whatever. Okay, here we are. Last lap. I just wanted to show you the end of a race. I did go in a few laps ago, both counts for some softs, just so we definitely had. We were getting to 35% on each of our tyres, so I wanted to make sure that we didn't have zero grip by the end. We've obviously slipped to third place. We were in second, actually, but to me that's safe than sorry, and having no grip and everyone else catching up to you. So third and fifth, not too bad. Guy in fourth has no grip, so we're going to pass him for P4, and that's what happens when you run your tyres with 0% left. So we've actually been able to gain a place there. Podium and a fourth position. That's not too bad, actually. And there it is. 38 points. And we managed to get all three here. Now there's no motions or anything equipped, so we didn't get anything from that, but we earned this much. And then it will load us back in, and it will say we've gained 133,000, which is great for us. So now if we have a look at this, we currently have 80 points. Brabham have 84 points. So we're in close contention for the top at the moment after that singular race. Next one was a sprint race, actually. 15 laps in China. Then we'll go to Canada, Bahrain, USA, India, Spain, Italy, England, and Malaysia. So a lot of variety in there. A lot of variety of tracks. And that is a first look at GT Manager. Hopefully I've shown you enough so you can decide whether this game is going to be for you. Maybe you're going to wait a little bit as it is in early access and see how the game develops. Or you might want to purchase it tomorrow on Steam. Link, by the way, to the Steam page is in the description. You can also search GT Manager. It will come up. I do think this does sit nicely in all the other management sims, as this is more focused on GT, which we haven't really had before. And particularly to me, that's sort of my favorite type of racing. So I was excited to see this when it was first announced, and it's a good fun playing it. If you've played Motorsport Manager before, like I have, I've put a lot of hours into that game. There are some elements in here that you might think have been simplified in comparison. It's not as sophisticated in some levels, some bits. I'm not going to go into all those pieces right now, but I do think it's very approachable, especially if you're new to the management scene and don't want to get too overwhelmed. This isn't very overwhelming. It's quite easy to understand. The tutorial tells you a few bits and pieces right at the start and then leaves you alone to do your own thing. So make your own decision, make your own assumptions and thoughts based on what you've seen today, and let me know in the comments what you think of GT Manager. Are you going to be buying it? Are you going to be waiting? What are your thoughts on the game from what you've seen from today's video? If you've enjoyed today's video, found it helpful, found it informative, and like to see more content like this one, make sure you're subscribed. I'll keep you all up to date on GT Manager and other racing and simulation games. So if that interests you, you can stick around, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.